You are tuned into Be Bold Radio, breaking barriers over lives daily. This is the place for you to learn strategies and tools to turn your business, your dreams, and your goals into a reality.
Here, listen to me. Okay, so I've been like on 10, seriously on 10. And I've been super excited about this masterclass. Many of you, hello, I see you joining in. Many of you have been to my masterclass or any of my events. If you've been to any of my events, I've always tried to do it in a spirit of excellence. And I have to admit, I can be a perfectionist from time to time, but I'm learning that everything does not have to be perfect. So while we are in this masterclass, you may see a few nicks and whatever, but my ultimate goal is to always serve in a spirit of excellence. So those of you who are joining in, I see there are a lot of you who I do not know personally, many of you that I do not know personally, but I want to introduce myself. My name, of course, is Dymeata B, but I go by Dymeata B. Those who know me personally, they call me Mita. Some of them call me D. I am a wife. I am a mother of 3 beautiful daughters, ages 14, 12, and 2. And so I am a serial entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since 2012. I have hosted my own talk show on YouTube. If you Google me on YouTube, if you look me up on YouTube, you'll see some of our shows. We didn't upload all the shows, but we did start our own YouTube talk show a while back, and that was an exciting adventure. However, but I am a serial entrepreneur, and I'm going to give you a little story about me in a second. I'm happily married. I married my best friend. I honestly married my best friend, and I honor him today, and I really just thank God for him. What else about me? Oh, I'm a podcaster. I'm an author of 5 books: Press Through Your Mess, Winning Confessions of a Diva, Manifested Now, The Power of Focus, and what else? Malaya's Big Dream. I think it's something else. Press Through Your Mess, Power of Focus. What did I say? Press Through Your Mess, The Power of Focus, Malaya's Big Dream, Winning Confessions of a Diva. I am missing one. It's 5 books, though. I know it's 5 books. The Power of Focus. Anyway, I am an author of 5 books, okay? And I have had the wonderful privilege of helping other authors publish their book. I did have and I still do have my publication company, with which I would say that it's been very, very successful. I've had the privilege of not only publishing other people's books, but also mentoring them through the process. So I am just really godly excited about this. I'm excited about you being a part of this EntrepreNEWHER Masterclass. So let me tell you all, hey, Kim. Hey, I just see all y'all here. Judy. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. So if you know different ones in here, then say what's up to your homegirls in here. I mean, if you see your girlfriend, you see your cousin, you see your business partner, say what's up to them. I want you all to treat this as if we were literally in a building having this masterclass. So last year I had a masterclass called the Unleashed Masterclass, which was a huge success. It was in my hometown, which Gary, Indiana. I am from Gary, Indiana. It was in my hometown. That was my last event that I hosted before I relocated to Charlotte, North Carolina. I do have some of my Charlotte friends on here from All Nations Worship Assembly, and I'm just so excited that they are here. Let me tell you guys, let me just say this. Since moving to Charlotte, I have really had a literal epiphany moment about my purpose and what I am called to serve to women. And I truly believe that I have a calling for women, not just women in general, but women who are ready to fulfill their life purpose. I am an entrepreneur, so I mean, I'm entrepreneur all day. I believe that God has called women to work their hands. God has called us to be fruitful and multiply, not just be having babies, popping out babies all the time, but to be fruitful here on earth with our gifts, with our talents, and with the resources that he has given us. So just a backstory. All right, All Nation Chicago is here. Oh, this is so awesome. So just a backstory. Let me tell you how I began my journey on entrepreneurship. Today, before I start, today I want to let you know that I am going to leave these live master classes up until May the 30th. Okay, until May the 30th. So you guys can get on here. You can watch them over and over and just let it get in your system. You have until May the 30th. We're going to leave them up here. So if you have some friends that you know they need to be a part of this masterclass, then I strongly encourage you to share with them about this page, about this group, so that they can get blessed and get poured into as well. So when I was 9 years old, some of you have heard this story before, but when I was 9 years old, I lived on 1933 Virginia Street in Gary, Indiana, 46407. I lived there with my parents. My parents, they worked at South Lake Methodist Hospital. My father was a janitor. He worked midnights. My mother was, she worked at the, patient information. She was like the greeter. At the desk, the reception desk. There we go. She was a receptionist. And so, and my dad would come home. My mother, when she was coming home, my dad was leaving to go to work. It was like a revolving door. And we lived in an area where it wasn't so safe. And there was a lot of, things going on there. And my father was a part-time minister, a pastor at the time. So he was working, ministering on Sundays and Tuesdays. And then he was also working at the hospital. And so I had this dream, guys, that I had a dream, like I seen it. I wanted my own lemonade stand at this age. At this age, I wanted my own lemonade stand. I seen the lemonade stand. I envisioned my lemonade stand. I had this dream for my sister to, be with me, to help me sell the lemonade. I was going to have my mom make me fresh lemonade. I remember my sign. I remember my colors. I wanted 2 chairs. I wanted a little container sitting on the table for people to just drop their money inside. I had the vision. Okay, so I never did the lemonade stand. And one thing that caused me to not have my lemonade stand, well, it wasn't my parents. It wasn't because they were working their jobs and it was a revolving door. It wasn't because we lived at 1933 Virginia Street. It wasn't the crime. That didn't stop me. What stopped me was me. I stopped me. I never asked for help. I never let my parents know about the idea that I had. I just never did it. It was up to me. And so when my husband and I had an insurance company in Indiana, and you all heard of American Family Insurance Company, we launched out into the deep and we opened our own insurance company. Well, we had it for a couple years. And when the economy went down for a slope, we were forced to close our insurance company. And, the economy just got bad. It really got bad. So we were one of the first to have to close our doors because everybody was going online. And so they weren't like walking into their offices anymore, in the area that we were at. And because we were the youngest in our company, or the most recent in our company, we were forced to close our doors first. And so it was to be quite honest with you, it was embarrassing. It was hurtful. It was just, I can't explain it. I can't explain the feeling, but I went into a deep, dark depression. I remember at that time, we were forced. I had just had my second daughter, and she was 1 year old, and we were forced to move in with my parents because we weren't going to have any more money. And so, y'all, if my thing keep going up, I got to stay cute for the video, so y'all will see me like pull it down a little bit. So I'm not going to apologize. I have to stay cute because I am marketing my conference, and I got to stay cute. You just never know who's going to see you, right? You got to be ready, right? So anyway, we were forced to close our insurance company. And I'm getting to a point. We were forced to close our insurance company, and we were forced to move in with my parents. We had 2 cars. We had 2 daughters. We had bills to pay. I mean, things was just, oh my God. It was the darkest season, one of the darkest seasons of my life. It was one of the darkest. And what I realized is that at that time, I had no business. I had no books at the time, any of that. I was sitting in the room that I grew up in because I was living with my parents. I was sitting in the room, and I remember just being truly, truly depressed at that time. And I would write down my prayers. I would write down my prayers. I would write down, just my desires from God, just confessions. I just began to journal confessions. And so I'm laying in the bed, and I'm like, what are we going to do? My husband could never get hired at certain places because they claimed he was overqualified. It was just weird. And so I was like, Lord, when is it my time? When is it my time? So I'm sitting in the bed, and God gave me an idea. He gave me the idea after he reminded me of that 9-year-old moment that I had as a little girl with my lemonade stand. So the idea that he gave me, I'm jotting down every day. I'm jotting down confessions for myself and prayers for myself. And God gave me the idea to write a book. Dymeata, this can go in a book. Somebody else may need these confessions. And immediately I was about to talk myself out of it, and God reminded me of my 9-year-old moment. So that was the jump start to me becoming an entrepreneur. So ever since that moment, sitting in that bed, writing down the confessions, God given me an idea. Ever since that moment, I have never talked myself out of any of the dreams that God has given me, any ideas that he's given me. I have not talked myself out of it. And so I give this story every time I speak, because I need you to know that every dream that God has downloaded on the inside of you, that is a God dream. That is a God idea. No idea is a dumb idea. No idea is a crazy idea. If God gave you that dream, he's going to empower you to sustain and follow through with that dream. And so I had to remind myself, Dymeata, you talked yourself out of your dream of having a lemonade stand at 9 years old. You can never go and say you did that lemonade stand. You can never tell your children, I had a lemonade stand when I was a little girl. I can never go back and undo what I never did, or redo what I never did. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. So moving forward, so today, what we're going to talk about is little fires everywhere. Okay. So God gave me this idea to name these topics off of movies or TV topics, TV shows that we've been watching. Why? Because we've all been in quarantine. Okay. God reminded me of this masterclass while I was in quarantine. I've been planning for this, seriously. And it took me just a week or so to execute. And I felt like because it's so relevant, everybody's watching Netflix, everybody's watching movies, everybody been watching, and they're binge watching, different series and different things like that. Like, I have not watched this much TV in I don't know how long. And I'm so serious. But it's been refreshing to me. And so anyway, so I named these because, let me just check really, really quick. Hello, Tiffany. Hello, Jamie. Oh, y'all just watch. I'm just so proud of y'all. Oh my God, I'm just proud of all y'all. Okay, so getting back to my point. So I named these topics off of the TV shows that some of them are my favorite. So today my topic is, of course, Little Fires Everywhere. If you have not watched Little Fires Everywhere, OMG, you need to download Hulu or borrow your girlfriend's Hulu account. I don't care what you do, you need to watch Little Fires Everywhere. So profound, but we're not going to get deep into Little Fires Everywhere. But what I am going to talk about is how to be relentless in the midst of chaos. And Little Fires Everywhere is symbolic to chaos. To me, it's symbolic to the distractions that we face every day. And so that's why I wanted to name this and coin this topic today, Little Fires Everywhere. So I want you to know my short story on how I became an entrepreneur. You heard a little bit about, how I moved into entrepreneurship. You heard a little bit about that and that small segment of a struggle. But today I want to talk about being relentless in the midst of chaos. So when I talk about chaos, I'm more so going to talk about distractions. Okay. The enemy, your adversary, is the king of distractions, okay? He's a strategist. He is a strategist. And I want you to know all through the Bible. Now, I'm a preacher's kid, so I will go back to the Bible and make reference to the Bible very often, and I'm a storyteller. I love to I'm very expressive. If y'all haven't caught on to that already, I'm very expressive. And so what I've learned that in the Bible, if people in the Bible were distracted and things were chaotic in the Bible, do you not think that you are not going to experience chaos in your life or distractions in your life? Yes, you will. This whole Corona thing, she is not my friend, okay? But Corona became a huge global distraction for everybody. I mean, everybody has been affected by this coronavirus. It was a huge, boom. Everybody's life just what just happened? For real. Everybody was just like, what the heck just happened? Coronavirus was one of the huge, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. And I'll be 41. In my 41 years of living, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. And so coronavirus, although it is a distraction, you have to know and you have to learn how to be relentless when distractions come. Now, I know some of you watching, you have dealt with distractions. I know you have. I know many of you, maybe you are in a distraction. You're in the midst of chaos in your life right now. Maybe you're dealing with, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. I don't know if I'm supposed to keep this job. I don't know if this job going to keep me. I don't know if, my husband going to stay with me. I don't know if I'm going to end up getting married. I don't know if I'm going to have a wedding. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a baby shower. I don't know. But the enemy uses those things as distractions. So I'm going to go to my notes. And hello, those of you joining in. Hello. I'm so glad you guys are here. One of the strategies of the enemy is to distract you. It is to distract you. And what I want you to do is give me some hearts. If you have a goal, if you have a dream, if you have an idea, I want you to give me some hearts. If you have a goal, a dream, an idea, whatever it is, give me some hearts. Because what I want you to know is that if you have a goal, if you have a dream, if you have an idea right now, you are the enemy's target. You are the enemy's target. Point blank, period. And so what he does is he uses distractions to keep you from accomplishing that goal, from accomplishing that dream, from following through with that idea. So he throws distractions in your way. You know what a distraction is? This is my definition. Anything that prevents you from going to your destiny. Anything that prevents you from accomplishing your goal. Anything that prevents you from attaining and fulfilling your purpose in life. That's a distraction. And a distraction comes through many forms. A person, a place, a thing. The Bible says that the enemy comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. He comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. He wants to kill your dreams. He wants to steal your momentum and your ideas, and he wants to destroy them. He wants to destroy your confidence. He wants to destroy you fulfilling your purpose in life. He comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But God comes so that we may have life and have it more abundantly. So today I want to talk about, how the enemy distracts. And so the enemy, what he does is he's such a strategist that he comes to wear us out. Have you ever been doing something, or maybe let's just say working out. We're just going to say working out. Have you ever been in a situation where you were like working out, or you say this year I'm getting fine as wine. I'm getting my life back together. I'm getting this stomach back together. And then somebody want to bless you with a cake, or want to bless you and take you out to eat. Or you may get a phone call from your best friend or whoever at the time that you're supposed to be working out. That's a distraction. The enemy will use anybody, anything to distract you. And so what you have to do is you have to be discerning. You have to be relentless, and you have to be strong and focused. That's what I talk about in The Power of Focus in the book. Gives you strategies on how to stay focused so that you can reach that goal. So you can get to that end of that goal and move on to the next goal, move on to the next dream, move on to the next idea. And so the enemy don't want you to go further. He don't want you to grow. So if you're sitting here, you're watching this masterclass, and you don't have a dream, you don't have a goal, and you don't have an idea, or you don't have anything that you want to move forward in, you are not a target. He's not messing with you. He's only messing with people who are in motion. See, there's two people. There are stagnant people, and there are people in motion. The enemy is quiet with people who are stagnant. He's quiet when people are stagnant. But when you are in motion, and you are doing something for God, or doing something to give God glory, or doing something that will elevate your finances, your business, your career, elevate your family, he's moving. He's looking for something to use to distract you. And when you think in the Bible, there are many people that were distracted in the Bible. People were distracted all through the Bible. But specifically, there were a few that I know of that were strongly affected by distractions. One was Martha. Martha was distracted. Her intentions were right, but she was distracted. Another person that was distracted in the Bible was David. David was supposed to be out fighting, and he's out coveting somebody else's wife. He was distracted. Samson, distracted by lust. Yeah, distracted. And then Eve, of course, the one who started it all, she was distracted. And so the enemy knows that when you have a purpose, Eve had a purpose. Adam and Eve had a purpose on this earth. They had a huge responsibility. So the enemy knew they were a target. He knew if I could get that woman, if I can get her from hearing and listening to her husband and following her husband, if I could get her to listen to me and I could switch up the story a little bit, I can distract her and I can destroy everything. And that's what he did. And why do we allow the enemy to distract us? Most times it's a lack of our prayer life. Another reason is a lack of conviction of our goal. We get tripped up by the enemy And where there is chaos going on around us, he knows that if she doesn't have a conviction about what she truly wants to do in life, I got her. So you have to be strongly convicted about whatever goal you have, whatever dream that God has given you, whatever idea, gift, or talent. You have to have a strong conviction, because when you have a strong conviction, it's hard for the enemy to distract you. Do you know, for me personally, when I work out, I cut my phone on do not disturb. So when I'm going intense on my workout, I cut my phone on do not disturb, because it seems like everybody needs me. Everybody's trying to contact me. Everybody want to share something, give me a word when I'm trying to work out. And so next you know, you're on your phone. What was supposed to be a reply, laugh out loud, an hour has gone by, and now you've lost your momentum to accomplish that goal. So what I've done was turn my phone on do not disturb, because my conviction is to reach a goal. There's a goal that I want to attain. There's a date that I have. So you got to be convicted about what God has called you to do, sis. You have to be convicted. I don't care if it's sewing, if it's singing, if it's working out, training, speaking, preaching. You're a nurse, you're a doctor. Whatever it is, you have to have a strong conviction. This is what I was created to do. So no, you can't come sell me this. No, you can't come sell me that. No, I'm not interested in this. No, you can't holler at me, because I am convicted about what God has created and called me to do. Everybody gets distracted. And that's why I named this Little Fires Everywhere, because when you're moving in the direction of your goals and your dreams, the enemy is going to he's throwing little fires everywhere, distractions everywhere. Have you ever been in a situation? I know I've been in a situation where, everything is going good. You got a goal, you got things laid out in place. You know where you're going. You know you got dates that you got in place for certain things, certain events, whatever. And then a huge distraction occurs. That's because the enemy was intimidated. He's intimidated of your future. He's intimidated about the impact that you're going to have. He's intimidated about who you're going to meet that's going to help take you to the next level. He's intimidated that you're going to discover a new resource, discover something new about yourself, and you're going to blow up. He's intimidated. He's afraid. So he throws distractions in your way to kill, to steal, and to destroy them. But you have to be relentless. You have to be relentless. So distractions, anything that prevents you from going to your destiny. Let me fix my outfit because I got to stay cute. Got to stay cute, y'all. Distractions is anything that prevents you from going to your destiny. So is it anybody in your life? You can think right now while I'm speaking, who is it in your life that is a slight distraction? Or what is it in your life that is a distraction? What is it in your life that is keeping you from attaining that dream? Because some of you listening to me right now, you have a dream that you've been sitting on for years. You tell people and share to people about this dream all the time, but you have not executed. My book, Press Through Your Mess, that was birthed from the moment of having too many excuses. I was tired of people coming to me, talking to me about what these grand ideas that they have. But then the moment calamity happens, the moment a storm hits, they stop talking. They lose their momentum. You got to learn how to keep your momentum in the midst of chaos. Because it's going to happen. Things is going to come. They're going to come from the left or the right, but you got to stand still. You got to learn how to bend but not break when you're moving towards your goal. You got to learn how to do it. And so you have to think about, and even tonight, write down, I really encourage this, write down the things and write down the people, write down the places. What's distracting you? Is it your phone? Is it social media? What's distracting you? And right now, while we're in quarantine, it's so easy. It's so easy to get tripped up. It's so easy It's so easy to get distracted about what's going on around us, but you have to learn how to close out and fade out the noise in your life. You got to learn how to do it, because at the end, and I tell people this all the time, you can't go back when we're all gone to be with the Lord. You can't plead with the Lord and say, Lord, I was distracted. I let so-and-so get in the way. I let this get in the way. Can I get you don't get a do-over. We can't do any of this over. You have to press through it. You got to be relentless and get through it no matter what. How? Because you got to have a strong conviction of what God has called you to do. I know what God has called me to do. I know what God has called me to do. No shade to anybody who does multi-level marketing. No shade. Because I encourage everybody to do, because here's the thing. I heard TD Jakes say, the thing leads to a thing. So if you're in a multi-level marketing business, maybe it's something that is not really bringing in the coins, whatever it is, don't belittle it. Don't put your 100 in, because it's going to lead to something else. It's going to lead to something else. And I'll get into that in a second. But the reason why I'm saying that is because people have come to me, and wanted me to join different multi-level marketing groups and different things like that. And it's not for me. It's just not for me. Well, I haven't always been that secure in what I knew what was for me. Once I realized that was a distraction, and once I realized that was not connected to what God has called me to do, I was able to identify the distraction. You know what I mean? Not saying that they meant anything wrong, but I was able to identify, because I have a conviction of what God has called me to do. And so what God has called me to do, that wasn't connected to what God has called me to do. So you're able to say no quicker when you have a strong conviction of what God has called you to do. Okay. And so, so I'm going to share some of my life stories with you guys. And let me make sure everybody's in. I see many of you still joining in. Y'all in here. Okay. Everybody. Okay. Okay. There we go. So anyway, so a little bit about me. I just be telling my business. I don't tell my business on Facebook, but I tell my business if I tell you something, it's to free you. Okay. So just call me Harriet Tubman right now, because I'm using my struggles to free somebody else. So speaking of, let me go back. There we go. So some of my stories, I told you guys I'm a serial entrepreneur. It has not been a cakewalk, and it still isn't a cakewalk. It's always a journey. It's a journey. However, I wouldn't trade this in for anything. I love what I do. I love what I do. It challenges me every day. I'm learning more about myself, and it ain't always good, the stuff that God showed me about me. There's some things that I've had to adjust. It's some things that I had to remove. It's some things that I had to, hey, you're going to step up or you just forget it. It's some things that I had to do to become a better me as an entrepreneur and as a boss. My children are looking up to me, so I have to step up to the plate and fulfill this responsibility. And I love what I do. I'm always up for a challenge. But like I said, it has not always been easy. And I'll give you an example of how I was adamant about not losing my conviction. I told you guys, don't lose your conviction. Don't lose your conviction of whatever God has called you to do. Because here's the thing, that let me just say this, the enemy distracts us. Why? He's afraid of you attaining and getting to that future. He's afraid of your future. But he also distracts you because he knows that you're closer to your future. Ladies, listen to me. If you are at or in a distraction, being distracted in the midst of chaos, I want you to know the enemy knows. And not only does he know, he knows that you're closer to your goal. You're closer to your dream than you really realize. You are closer. And so what I had to learn over the years was, had I given up over some distractions that were going on in my life, I wouldn't even be right here talking to you. I wouldn't even be right here. And that's why I have a strong conviction, very strong conviction, to help women all over the world, to help pull out of them what's been laying dormant, the gifts, the talents, the ideas. This is my calling. This is a part of who I am. Because I never want the women listening to me to ever feel like they don't matter, to ever feel like their existence doesn't matter. Honey, you are closer than you think. And if you haven't moved yet into the direction of your dream, you just joining the Entrepreneur Masterclass takes you a step further. Because when you get in an atmosphere of faith, and an atmosphere with women who dream big, an atmosphere of women who are talking the same language, something jumps on the inside of you. And you're going to learn how to be relentless in this season. So, and I confess every day, quarantine, pandemic, coronavirus, whatever, it's working for me and not against me. I don't care how many distractions are going on. It is working for me and not against me. You all need to comment that. This is working for me and not against me. And whenever your distractions come, you say, this is working for me and not against me. This is working for me and not against me, because all things work together for my good. It's working for me and not against me. I'm not going under. It's working for me and not against me, because God makes all things work together for my good. He never puts his children to shame. So I will never come out of any situation embarrassed, ashamed, or looking crazy, because guess what? He never makes his children come to shame. I will never be put to shame. I don't care how embarrassed I am. I will never be put to shame, because I'm his. And God is excited, and God is concerned, and God is in the midst of my future. You got to learn how to talk to yourself. So it's working for me and not against me. Your distractions, your fires, your chaos is working for you and not against you, boo. It's working for you. And so I'll go back into 2000. Oh my God. I'm going to try not to tear up. But in 2011, my husband, 2011, that was when we moved out. 2012, we moved out of my parents' home. And what was supposed to be a year turned into 2.5 years, y'all. Yeah. Love my parents to life. I really do. And I thank God for them. But like, it was time for us to just, everybody like needed their space. We have a close-knit family. But it, once you've been on your own, you like, this ain't gonna work forever. So it turned in to be longer than we expected. Like I said, my husband was trying to find jobs, and he was overqualified or not qualified enough. And so it was just really, really hard. At that time, I was still working at my dad's church. So that was one portion of income that was coming in. Oh, I don't know if I told you I was a PK. Preacher's kid. But I was, working and serving under my parents in our church, or former church. And I'll never forget, after we moved out, we found us an apartment, and we could not keep up with the rent. We could not keep up with this apartment because my husband, he found a job, but it wasn't bringing in enough income. And it was one of the hardest times of my life. We talk about it now because it's like, man, we look at any situation that we face now and we're like, but if God could bring us, if he brought us through that, surely he's going to bring us through this. So we always look back at our journey to encourage ourselves and to remind ourselves that that same God is here today. And so sometimes you got to do that. You got to remember that, y'all. You got to remember that. But in this time, in that season of our lives, we were in a 2-bedroom apartment, and we had 2 daughters. They were sharing a room, and we had a room, and we couldn't keep up with the rent. And we kept trying to negotiate. And finally they just got tired of us. They was like, you got to go. And so we had no place to live. And many people who know me probably don't even know. Most people don't know this story. And so we didn't know where we were going to go. My parents didn't even know this much. So we're in the process of looking for another apartment. credit was jacked up, couldn't apply for another apartment. And so we pleaded with them. It was like, can we please? And they was like, no, you got to be out by, I believe it was Labor Day. It was in September. I think it was 2011. And so I remember after we packed everything up, we put it in storage and we moved. That was a distraction because I had just started my little boutique online, and it was a distraction. I'm like, oh, I can't even get nothing from a boutique because I'm getting evicted. And so, so we looked for an apartment. Finally, an apartment came up in the same complex that we were living in. But the lady told me that we couldn't move in, and it would be available in 30 days. So what the heck are we going to go for 30 days? So we ended up we didn't want to go back to our parents' house. So we ended up getting a hotel, which, that could be costly. We get the hotel, y'all. Mind you, I'm getting speaking engagements, people calling me to minister and to speak. This is all in the midst of us being evicted. And I'm like, I'm not even qualified. Like, what I'm going to preach? I don't even know where I'm going to live. It was a distraction. So people were still calling me, and, people were asking me to minister. And then I was scheduled to minister at my church. I'm like, oh my God, my parents don't even know the half that's going on right now. So my husband and I, we were in faith. We had a conviction. We knew that God had called us to be entrepreneurs. We knew it. When we met, we knew. My husband had a vision. He knew where he wanted to go. And ladies, if you're single right now, let me just say this. I've always said this, always choose for your future, not for your now. I heard our pastor say that just recently, yesterday, and I almost jumped up because I'm like, yes, don't choose a man for where you are right now, because who you are right now, this ain't you. This ain't you. Where you going? You want to choose somebody for where you going. And I'm so glad I listened to God, and I'm just so grateful. Honestly, I'm just so grateful because my husband, he's truly who I needed for right now. He's who I needed. He's who I needed. So anyway, so my husband and I, we knew when we got married, we knew we wanted to be business owners and entrepreneurs. We knew that. We wanted to have control over our money. We wanted to have control over that. My husband's always said, I want to be able to, go to my girls' games and my children's games and the cheer, go watch him cheer, go watch him dance. He's always, when he wanted to be the dad that go up to the school and have lunch with them. And so I made sure that because he told me that, then what I'm supposed to do, because he's the captain on the ship, I'm supposed to manage the ship. So what I do is, God, give me ideas, make me innovative. How can I be fruitful and multiply with my hands so that I can help him carry the vision? So, like I said, I had this little boutique. Back then it was called Ladies Rock Boutique. And mind you, we living in this hotel. We had to go to Best Western. So I'm working at the church. My husband just got a job. We get a hotel. We booked a hotel for a whole month, and we were paying week to week. So we had 2 vehicles. We were behind on our car notes, behind in our rent. Well, we got evicted, and living in a hotel room with, 2 queen size beds. And I'm getting speaking engagements to speak to women and to minister at church. All of these distractions are going on in my life. They calling me talking about they're going to repo the cars. So I negotiated. I was like, okay, can I give you this? My husband just started a job in Chicago. He just started. His first check is this date. Can I send the money then? They was like, yeah. So I'm at church working. I go to I go outside. My daughters, I think my mom has scheduled for them to get their hair done. And at that time, my mom was paying for them to get their hair done. We weren't paying for it. And she would go take them, that would be her treat, to get their hair done, my girls' hair done. So I was supposed to pick them up from daycare and take them to the hair salon. I walk outside of the church. I leave work and no car. My car is gone. And I have never in my life wished and prayed that somebody stole the car. I was like, Lord, let somebody have stole this car. But nobody stole the car. They repoed the car. So I had to go back in and explain, y'all don't have no car. They repoed my car. It was a distraction, y'all. A distraction. So what do? I get a ride up to the train station because my husband worked in Chicago. We still had his car. Mind you, we behind in both car notes. And I got a ride. My brother took me to the train station because my husband left his car at the train station and he was at work in Chicago. So I was able to get his car. Picked up the girls. I'm like, cool, we're going to keep it moving. I was relentless. Keep it moving. So get the car. And, once we get the car, I take my girls to the hair salon. I'm sitting in the hair salon and I'm like thinking through like, Lord, what do I do next? I have speaking engagements. I have a boutique I just launched. Like my husband just started a job. I live in a hotel, it was so uninspirational for me. Like I didn't have an atmosphere to be creative and to work. It was just chaotic. Talk about little fires everywhere, right? So I'm in the hotel. I take the girls to the hair salon after they get their hair done. I go pick up my husband from the train station. We go to the hotel and we're there. We get something to eat, order pizza. I don't even remember. The next day, my best friend called me and said, hey, let's go have breakfast in the morning. So I was like, okay, she wanted to treat me for breakfast. And she treats me, the purpose was to treat me for breakfast because she knew what I was going through. And we're in the hotel room. It was a Saturday. It was September the 8th, to be exact. And mind you, this is September the 8th, 2000. This is 12. I said 11, 2012, September the 8th, 2012. And I go outside. I tell my husband, babe, I'll be back. I'm going to have breakfast. Go outside and his truck is gone. They came and got his truck. Now, mind you, I promised them I would, as soon as the deposit dropped, I was going to keep up. I was going to pay and catch up. Didn't happen. They came and got, not only did they come and get his truck, all my shoes was in the truck. Y'all, all my shoes was in the truck. Okay, so that's another distraction. They done took my shoes. I got one pair of shoes in the hotel room. So moving right along, I go to the front desk and I ask them to show me on the camera. Like, did somebody steal my car? Because in my head, my car got stolen. In my head, because God, you ain't gonna let this happen twice. So the lady at the front desk tells me, she shows me the camera. It was repoed. So I had to go back in the house. I had to go back in the hotel room, and I had to let my best friend know I can't meet up with you. I mean, my car got repoed. So that was that, right? I get back in there after I hang up from my best friend. And you would think at that moment, you just ready to break. Because see, the enemy at that moment, he was ready for me to cuss and to cry and to trip and to blame and to be pissed off. You know what me and my husband did? We cut on some worship music. And that's what I wanted to kick this off with. What the things that you have to do when you are in the middle of chaos and in the middle of distractions, you're going to have to learn how to worship. Worship will change your life. I mean, true, authentic worship, ladies. You're going to have to learn how to create your atmosphere of worship. So we cut on some worship in that hotel room, and the four of us, our two girls and my husband, we just began to worship. We didn't even talk about what just happened. In the course, back to back, our cars got repoed. One day we moving in a hotel. The next day my car get repoed. The next day his car gets repoed. In all of this, we're dreaming, we're writing down visions, we're making vision boards, we're writing down confessions. I have this dream to have a cosmetic line, like all of this. And this happens like a domino effect. And what you're going to learn, you're going to have to learn how to do is worship in the midst of adversity. I don't care what is going on in your life. You have to learn how to stop and worship him. Because what he does is he's going to calm you. It was such a calmness and a peace that I had after worshiping God, knowing that God, even in this, you're God. Like, this does not remove you from your position, God. You still sit on the throne. You're bigger than my car note. You're bigger than an apartment. You're bigger than what I need right now. And when you begin to worship him and let God be God and remind God of who he is in your life, your perception will change. Your perception will change. So you got to learn how to worship. So in the midst of my distractions, I had to learn how to worship. So, mind you, I had this dream to have a cosmetic line. And at this point, I had one book. I had my boutique, okay? And my husband was working and I'm working, okay? And I had like a gamut of ideas. I'm a vault. Like, I have these ideas, these huge ideas. And that's why the enemy wanted to distract me, because he was afraid of my future. He knew that if I didn't allow these distractions to take over me, he knew how much damage I can cause on the earth. He knew how many lives I had the potential to change. He knew. So he causes the little fires to be thrown everywhere. He does that. He's intimidated by you. He's intimidated by you. You got to know that. So you got to worship. So what we didn't do, and what I thank even my husband, because I had to put a muzzle over my mouth, is you got to speak the right words. You got to begin to speak the right words. That's the challenge. That's going to be the challenge in the midst of chaos. This is how you be relentless. This is how you're going to be relentless. You got to worship. And you got to speak the right words. That means words of affirmation. God, I thank you that my bank account is multiplying. God, I thank you that increase is finding its way to me. God, I thank you that my tomorrow looks way better than my today. God, I thank you that favor finds its way to me. In spite of the situation that's going on around me, God, I thank you. And so that's what's going to happen. You're going to have to speak the right words. Even when you don't have money in the bank, increase finds its way to me. Favor finds its way to me. Gas, I speak to you. Food, I speak to you. Energy, I speak to you. Provision, I speak to you. Money finds its way to me. Favor finds its way to me. Increase finds its way to me. I don't care what it looks like. I call resources. Resources find its way to me. You got to speak the right things. You have to create your atmosphere. And so in that time of distractions, when you are being distracted and you are seeing fires everywhere, this bill due, this one want this want this, I got to fix this don't work, my boss pulling on me, whatever it is, you have to learn how to speak the right things. Because what you create with your mouth becomes your reality. What you create with your mouth will become your reality. And if you keep saying they make me sick, you're creating your reality. If you keep saying I ain't never got enough, you're never going to have enough. Create your reality with the words that you speak. So this is how you're going to be relentless in the midst of your chaos, in the midst of everything that's going on around you. You got to worship. You got to say the right things. You got to stop worrying. I've learned the same the same energy that it takes for me to worry and to have anxiety is that same energy that I could use to thank God and to work in faith and to speak in faith and to give it to God. Because I'm telling you, I didn't realize I had anxiety. I didn't realize until maybe late last year, maybe after I had my youngest child, Malaya. That's when I began to notice that I was just like having anxiety about things that I could not control. But I had to learn and still learn to take that same energy and give it to God and walk by faith. We could miss our opportunity when we're worrying, because we're creating an atmosphere of fear. When we in worry, you create your atmosphere with fear, anxiety, stress, unnecessary stress. Listen, control what you can control. Let God control what you can't control. Seriously, point blank, period. Control what only you control. Once you get to that point where it's out of your control, give it to God and let God control it, because he's in control. He only give us so much that we can control. This coronavirus, it may have caused an interruption in our plans, an interruption in what we thought we would be right now. But control what only you can control. And everything else, God's got that under control. For real, because we worry about things that is beyond our control. That's why we worry. We worry about things we really can't control. So we have to learn how to refrain from worrying. And when you find yourself, because you're human, I'm human, when you find yourself worrying, catch yourself and say, God, I know you in control. I've controlled what I can control. Now I know the rest. You are in control. Y'all got it? Are y'all following me? Okay, hold on, because I think it's still some people trying to get in. Oh, okay, we good. Okay, so where we at? Where we at? Okay. The next point is how do we be relentless in the midst of chaos? You got to work. You got to work. When our cars got repossessed and we had to stay in a hotel, it was hell. I'm not gonna lie. There were moments I cried. I had to spend my birthday, my anniversary, Labor Day, all in that hotel room. Like, it was hell. It was hell. And then God began to, once we began to put ourselves in a posture of worship, God began to supernaturally, I don't know how he did it, but he began to send people our way to help us. And we were able to use a car until we were able to get our car out of repossession. We were able to use somebody else's car. They were like, well, we got an extra car. You can use this. That was a blessing out of nowhere. And mind you, because I had no control after that. So this is 2012, September the 8th, the second car gets repossessed. I'm spending my birthday. September 10th is my birthday. Remember September 8th, okay? September 5th is my anniversary. September 8th is when our cars got repossessed. September 10th was my birthday. So you can only imagine how we didn't celebrate. We didn't get to really make moments because it was a distraction after distraction. And so when that second car got repossessed, we were just like, bump it. We finna worship. We gonna worship because it ain't nothing. I am not about to let this thing stress me out. And I'm like, my husband just got a new job and paying good money. Like, Lord, please help us sister out. So we began to worship. I stopped worrying because I didn't know what else to do. And God sent an angel to give us another car until we got our cars out of repo. So I was able to, commute. My husband was able to go to work and we were able to just like maneuver until, we got our apartment. We got our apartment, got our cars back. And in the process, though, it was so much catching up to do. It was just so much we were dealing with. And I had to learn, Dymeata, in the midst of all of this hell, girl, you got to still work. You got to work like this stuff don't even exist. And that's what I mean about having a strong conviction of what God has called you to do. And when you have a strong conviction, you're not going to let anything, anybody, or any place get in the way of what God has called you to do. And so I still had to maintain my work, not just my work, my day-to-day work, my paycheck work, but the dreams that God had put on the inside of me. My dream was to have a cosmetic line. My dream was to have a lipstick line. That was just always been a dream of mine. And I remember being in church and God was giving me the ideas and he gave me the name and all of that. Be Bold Cosmetics. Man, y'all, through all of this hell, he giving me dreams at this hotel room. He's giving me dreams. So what the enemy meant to destroy me, to distract me, to discourage me, it was actually pumping me up and giving me more ideas. But you got to be in an atmosphere of worship. And so what I did was God gave me these names. September 8th, 2012, God gave me the name Be Bold Cosmetics. And Be Bold stands for Breaking Barriers Off of Lives Daily. Breaking barriers off of lives daily. So my brand has a message. And so it didn't just come up with, let's just come up with this name. It was the hell I was going through that led up to my brand. And so I get to sell and give a message at the same time. And so although I stopped worrying because it was nothing else I could do. I started speaking the right things, which were the affirmations. I was saying what God said about me. And I began to continuously worship, and I had to continuously work. You got to keep grinding, ladies. You can't stop. You can't stop. See, when you take too many breaks, you lose your momentum. When you take too many pauses, you lose your momentum. And so I felt like I had to be relentless in what God called me to do and the ideas he had given me, because I didn't want to lose my momentum. I didn't want to go back to that lemonade stand, that thought of, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I told you, I promised myself I would never talk myself out of an idea again. And so even though cars was being pulled from us, we were sleeping in this nasty hotel room, and the money was definitely tight. Anything that was coming in, we was catching up. I had to keep working. I had to keep working. And that's what you're going to have to do in this season. Yes, quarantine has affected many of us, and some of us it didn't, but you're going to have to keep working. This is not vacation time for me. This is not vacation time for me. I am working. I am planning for the future. Do you hear me? That's what you need to be doing, planning for your future. Because what's going on right now is going to pass. And after it's over, what have you done? What have you accomplished? What have you written down? What have you begun executing? You have to work in the midst of chaos, in the midst of distractions. You got to work. Worship, stop worrying, work, speak the right things. And this one, don't complain. Don't complain, sis. Don't complain. Don't complain. Watch your words. This is never going to get easy. I'm never going to see this business. I'm never going to see that dream. I'm tired of going through this. I know it's tempting, y'all, but don't complain. You know what happened when the children of Israel kept complaining and murmuring? It took them longer to get to that promised land than it should have taken. Don't let your complaints keep you longer in this season, keep you here in this season longer than you should be. Some of you should have been way ahead of where you are now, but because you complain and you murmur and you speak negative things, you're going to remain in that escalator stage. You know, the escalator just go, it just take you up, then it go back down, take you up and go back. You're really not going nowhere. Don't complain. If you've been complaining, stop complaining. From this day forward, stop complaining. Stop complaining. So those are my things. Those are my things to keep you from being taken under with the distractions in your life. That's how you're going to remain relentless. Worship. Stop worrying. Work, girl, work. Don't complain. Speak the right words. And I'm going to give you a bonus one. Stay laser focused.
Are you a leader, entrepreneur, author, or speaker? Did you have a lifestyle change that you want to share with the world? Do you have some helpful health tips that could change our life? Well, be a guest on the Be Bold Radio Show. Email us at beboldradio@gmail.com. Again, that's beboldradio@gmail.com.